Are you aware of the silent menace lurking in your pocket, posing a threat to your hard-earned money and personal information? Yes, we're talking about SIM swapping and scamming in Kenya. In the heart of our beautiful nation, an insidious crime has taken root. Unseen, faceless, it sneaks into our lives, robbing us of our peace, our privacy, and our hard-earned savings. This is the shadowy world of SIM swapping and scamming, a threat that's as real as the phone in your hand. Picture this. One moment you're going about your day, the next, your phone signal disappears. You brush it off thinking it's a network issue. Little do you know, your SIM card has been swapped. Your phone number, now in the hands of a con artist, becomes a gateway to your personal and financial information. Likewise, imagine receiving a call or a text message from a seemingly trustworthy source. They're offering a job, a prize, a chance to change your life. You're tempted, you engage, and just like that, you're scammed. Your trust, your hope, exploited in the blink of an eye. Now, this isn't a tale from a far-off land. This is happening right here in our beloved Kenya, from the quiet streets of Mulot in Bomet East to the bustling corners of Sigor in Chepalungu, Bomet County. These scams are pervasive and growing. And the most chilling part, it's not a random act. It's a well-orchestrated, systematic operation that thrives on the complexity of the crime, the lack of public awareness, and unfortunately the laxity and internal cooperation of our very own service providers. As we delve deeper into this issue, remember, knowledge is power. Understanding the threat is the first step to combating it. Stay informed, stay safe. This isn't just about protecting your money or your identity, it's about reclaiming our peace, our trust, and our sense of security. It's about saying no to this hidden threat and yes to a safer, more secure Kenya. The small town of Mulot, Bomet East, has a notorious history in the annals of SIM swapping. This town, unassuming in its appearance, was once the epicenter of a digital crime wave that sent shockwaves through the nation. In the early days, the pioneers of this illicit trade were simply individuals with a knack for technology and a disregard for the law. They exploited the vulnerability of mobile users, tapping into a goldmine of personal information and financial access. Among these figures was a man known only as the Ghost of Mulot, a moniker earned through his elusive nature and the spectral trace left in the wake of his crimes. As word spread of the lucrative potential of SIM swapping, the practice began to flourish. The Ghost of Mulot and his contemporaries laid the groundwork for a new generation of digital predators who took the crime to unprecedented heights. Using increasingly sophisticated methods, they targeted not just individuals but corporations and even government officials, inflicting significant financial and reputational damage. This crime wave wasn't confined to Mulot. As its perpetrators became more audacious, their influence spread to other regions. Sigor, Chepalungu, and other parts of Bomet County began to report rampant SIM swapping and scamming activities. The criminal enterprise that originated in a small town had now cast a shadow over an entire region. Yet, as the years passed, the original swappers from Mulot faded into obscurity. Many of them vanished without a trace, their identities concealed behind layers of digital subterfuge. Others were apprehended, their reign of digital terror coming to an abrupt end, but their legacy didn't die with them. The techniques they pioneered, the networks they established, and the audacity they demonstrated have been inherited by a new generation of scammers. They've taken the baton from their predecessors and are running with it, emboldened by the lack of decisive action from the authorities. While the swappers from Mulot may have faded into history, their legacy lives on in the current generation of scammers. In the heart of Chepalungu, Bomet County, a new breed of scammers has emerged. Now we turn our attention to Sigor, where the art of SIM swapping and scamming has taken root and flourished. In this quiet corner of the county, a clandestine industry thrives, feeding off the unsuspecting and the uninformed. A wave of digital pickpockets has swept across the region, their fingers swift and silent, as they pilfer personal data and hard-earned money right from under the noses of their victims. This surge in SIM swapping and scamming has not come about by sheer happenstance. No, it's a carefully orchestrated symphony of crime, played out on the stage of public ignorance and under the dim light of inadequate safeguards. Let's consider the lack of public awareness. Many citizens remain blissfully unaware of the danger lurking in their pockets. The scammer's best ally is the unassuming victim, someone who doesn't think twice about sharing their personal details over the phone or clicking on a suspicious link. This, coupled with the absence of comprehensive education on the matter, creates a fertile ground for the scammers to sow their seeds of deceit. Then we have the inadequate safeguards. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but the truth remains. The powers that be have not done enough to protect the citizenry from this menace. Weak authentication processes and the lack of timely action have turned our telecommunication networks into playgrounds for these digital thieves. The scammers of Sigor are not born of the region's soil. They are the product of a system that has failed to adapt to the changing times. A system that has left the door wide open for those with ill intentions to walk right in. The scammers of Sigor are a stark reminder of the ongoing threat posed by SIM swapping and scamming. They are a call to action, a plea for change. It's high time we fought back against this unseen enemy, for the safety of our data, our money, and our peace of mind. Why are these criminals almost untouchable? The answer lies in a complex web of corruption and complicity. In our quest to understand this elusive menace, we find ourselves entangled in a web of deceit and manipulation. These criminals, these SIM swappers and scammers, they've managed to construct a fortress of untouchability around themselves. But how is this possible? Well, let's start with the most glaring reason. Bribery, the ability to grease a few palms to make the right donations, has been a fundamental tool in their survival kit. This not only keeps them out of jail but also ensures their operations run smoothly, uninterrupted. But the rot doesn't stop there. The very institutions meant to protect us, our government and our service providers, are complicit in this scheme. It's a painful truth we must confront. Many a time these entities have turned a blind eye to the ongoing scamming activities, allowing these criminals to thrive in broad daylight. And there's more. Ever wonder where the funds for our politicians' extravagant campaigns come from? Dig a little deeper, and you'll find a connection to these untouchables. The scammers, in their cunning, have found allies in the political arena, using their ill-gotten wealth to fund campaigns and, in return, receiving protection and immunity from prosecution. But let's not forget the role of the service providers, who through laxity and internal cooperation with the scammers have enabled this crime to flourish. Weak authentication processes, lack of timely action, and inadequate safeguards have all played a part in facilitating SIM swapping and scamming. This untouchability is not just about the criminals themselves, it's a reflection of the systemic failures in our society. It's about the corruption that's been allowed to fester, the lack of public awareness, and the complacency that's given these criminals the confidence to operate with impunity. The untouchability of these criminals is a reflection of the systemic failures in our society. It's time for change. It's time for action. We cannot remain idle while a new breed of thieves, faceless and ruthless, rob us of our hard-earned money. In the shadows of Mulot and Sigor, they thrive, shielded by the complexity of their crime and the apathy of those who should protect us. So what can we do? We can start by educating ourselves and those around us. Knowledge is power, and understanding the tactics of these scammers is our first line of defense. But awareness is not enough. We must demand better from our service providers, from the corporations that hold our personal information and yet seem unable to protect it. And we must demand better from our government. We cannot allow these criminals to continue to operate with impunity, hidden in plain sight, their crimes ignored or even facilitated by those in power. There is no easy solution. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but if we stand together, if we demand change and refuse to be silenced, we can turn the tide. We must also remember that these scammers are not untouchable. They may have evaded us so far, but they are not invincible. They rely on our ignorance, our apathy, our silence. We must take up this call to arms, not with violence, but with resolve, with determination, with the knowledge that we can, and we will, outsmart these scammers. Together, we can outsmart the scammers. Together, we can make a difference.